you actually gave the right person a chance this time, or you're about to. And this could have been something that was really hard for you to even like open your heart up to the prospect of giving this person a chance to be a major part of your life. Like I think that you had established such strict boundaries, and this could be for you or them, and it could be like a mutual thing where your boundaries were so high to where, I don't know, maybe something in the past, like you would get overly enthusiastic about entering new connections, and it doesn't just have to be romantic. It could be like friendship connections or even opening up to a coworker or something. It's almost giving being too hasty in regards to trying to progress a connection forward, and then it like, you know, it's like you didn't take enough time to get to know somebody in the past. Like you may have even ended up in a marriage with somebody because you were in this mindset of like, oh, this is so romantic, this is everything that I wanted, and like this is the right thing to do. And then, I don't know, you progress through it and you end up with like having a kid with somebody that you realize you can't stand to be around and don't actually like in any meaningful way beyond like the superficial stuff. So yeah, I think that like maybe you had even gotten to the point where you were closed off to even having some sort of close connection of this kind ever again. um but something was different about this person to where you made a brief exception for them, and you might have had the mindset of like, okay, if this goes south, then I'm definitely done. Like this would just be confirmation for me that this sort of connection or relationship or interaction is not meant for me. And it's going or will go exceptionally well. It's sort of like I don't know if it's like Plato or something, who he like talks about the forms. So there's always like a concept or an idea of like an idea, like say for example like a chair. Like there's the idea of a chair, like the chair, the perfect chair. But like every time it's attempted to be replicated, it's never quite like perfect. It's always just like an imitation, or something is off about it because it's hard to like, I don't know, it's hard to like replicate that perfection of an ideal in the physical, right? But I'm getting that something is happening to where like whatever this connection is, it's like an exact replica. And I don't want to say that, but it's just sort of like the idea or this like fantasy or fairy tale concept of how this sort of connection is supposed to be. That's the way that it actually is like going to manifest for you, you know what I mean? So if you have this idea of like um what, say if you're masculine, like what kind of boyfriend, then fiance, then husband you want to be, that may require a certain type of feminine. And only if you're coming from a grounded place and not having this sort of unrealistic expectations. Like there's a difference between having a fantasy that is balanced, versus one that requires somebody to be overly self-sacrificing and you're not like willing to compromise or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like a reciprocal balance situation, right? But it's sort of like the dynamic that you need to have in order to sort of like for that vision of this connection to manifest and be what is emotionally fulfilling for you. Like that's what's actually going to take place, if that makes sense. It's also giving you know it's sort of like a bit of like the Goldilocks energy of not too hot and not too cold. It's just right. Also getting, your friends or someone, could have said, oh, well, a person like that is like a unicorn, it's highly unlikely you would ever find them. There may be one left in the world, you know what I mean? And then I'm getting that, you found or will find the one person that is the match for you because you've done the work. Like if you're seeing this message, this is for people who are in alignment. So like everything that you've been doing, like the work on yourself, reflection, and I'm getting the contemplation, especially in like since the beginning of winter, maybe late fall, has been a lot of uh sort of like hermit energy of contemplating everything. And there's this sense of like there was a vibration or energy that you sought to embody, I guess, and it took a lot of effort for you to maintain it. It's sort of the thing of like you had to make a habit of being in a certain energy, and of course, like when you're in the midst of, like, I don't know if they say, it takes so many days for something to become a habit or whatever, and I'm not saying it took that many days or anything, but it's giving that you were able to maintain a certain mindset or something for a specific amount of time to where now you're locked into that vibration, and so it's going to feel effortless and more light, and it's not going to require so much thought. And that could have to do with anything, if you were trying to break a bad habit, or if you're like, even if the bad habit was just like a negative thought pattern or something like that, or even, you can detox from more than just like substances, right? Like, there could be like people, especially exes or family members and stuff like that, that you would cut them off and then go back to them if they said the right thing, or if you were in a low point or feeling lonely and they came back at the quote unquote right time for them, wrong time for you, or whatever. But I'm getting that you sort of abstained from whatever the bad habit thing was for long enough that it's like locked in as just a part of you now, to where you're not going to go back to whatever that thing was, okay? And so if you were doubting if, like, do I even deserve that ideal thing that I desire? And this doesn't just have to be in regards to relationships, but it is giving that. And it doesn't just have to be romantic, because I'm getting a lot of friendship energy too. And I think that, like, a lot of people who close themselves off to, I don't need friends, like, or like, not even just that in like a spiteful way, but just being okay being alone, have developed that mindset due to pain and like hurt and stuff like that. And I don't know. But it's giving that, like, you may have been disappointed in the past because there was like an idea of like it's almost giving that you operated out of this, I'm going to treat people the way that I want to be treated by them, and you kind of just expected that they would do the same. And if this was like family members too, they could have told you that or instilled this mindset in you, like, you're supposed to treat people the way you want to be treated, but they had no intention of ever treating you the way they wanted you to treat them. They were just like kind of using that as a way to manipulate you into overgiving and people pleasing. Some of you could have also gone through a really intense like healing crisis or something, especially if you were overworking yourself. And it got to the point where you were like, is this ever going to end? It's never been this bad before. And you know, it's almost giving like it was a call for you to get to the point where you could actually feel some empathy for yourself and forgive yourself and release some guilt. It's sort of like something had to reach such a low point for you to finally admit, what, regardless of the mistakes that I made in the past, I don't deserve this. Like, I don't deserve perpetual suffering. And it's sort of like it like shatters that, I don't want to say like illusion of self-hatred or whatever, but it kind of like breaks you out of that mindset of you not being deserving of things, even of on a subconscious level. And getting to the point of like, what, I do deserve to be healthy, I do deserve to be happy, I do deserve to have like the high caliber, high quality people, places, and things in my experience of my like life or whatever. But yeah, so if you were sort of I feel like there was a lot of anxiety that you may have felt at first in regards to giving this person or thing a chance, because you may have had the mindset of like, if this goes wrong, this is actually going to break me after giving this a chance or whatever, but it's actually going to be, the end game type of situation for you. It's not going to disappoint you, whatever, like whatsoever. Okay, you just have to keep being authentic. I am getting that, like, it's sort of like you may have built up some boundaries in regards to how you express yourself or how you approach people, because maybe certain ways that you showed up naturally, like your sense of humor or something like that, or like you offering advice, it triggered the people around you in the past. And so you may be a little hesitant to offer that like energy up to this new person, but I'm getting that, like, if you do, that's sort of what is going to tie the bond, like, because that's the energy that they need, is your natural energy that people villainize or demonize in the past. So if people in the past were like, oh, you don't take anything too seriously, you joke too much, or you laugh too much or whatever, or blah blah blah, you always offer advice when it's not asked, it's like this person needs that energy from you, if it makes sense. And that's how it's a true divine match or whatever.